Hi there, I'm KHU11 digital anchor Brandy Smith. We are standing by waiting to hear from Houston police investigators in a press conference that is going to come in two parts. So I think the reason most of you are here is to hear updates about the Rudy Farias case. We have a lot of questions after Farias was found on June 29th. We don't have a lot of answers at this point. There have been a lot of disturbing allegations made, hoping for some clarification from Houston police today. But first, we were told they were going to talk about dash cameras installed in patrol cars. So for those of you who are joining in and want to get right to the case of Rudy's disappearance and reappearance, I understand, but it sounds like HPD is going to address this other matter first. For those of you watching who are wondering, what is this case about? I want to take you back a little bit. Now again, a lot of disturbing allegations made over the past couple of days, a lot of questions raised, not a lot of answers. So what we know is that in March 2015, then 17-year-old Rudy Farias disappeared while walking his dogs in Northeast Houston. He was reported missing, nothing for a couple years. In September of 2018, HPD got a call from family members who said they thought Rudy was living behind a family member's house. Haven't specified which family member's house, but HPD looked into it, didn't find him. Again, nothing for a couple years. That brings us to June 29th, when at 10 p.m., Houston police responded to a church where there was a man found unresponsive outside. There were items on his person that connected him to the Farias family, and he was identified as Rudy, now a 25-year-old man. His mother, on social media and in conversations with our reporters, said that he went to the hospital. We had an interview set with Janie Santana yesterday, but just before reporter Grace White was set to sit down with her, Quanell X, community activist, came out and made some of the most disturbing allegations we've heard in the case so far. I think Grace White last night did a great job kind of setting up and explaining what we know about this case so far, so I'm going to let her share that.
I'm going to say I'm very worried about Rudy. Very worried.
Pauline Sanchez Rodriguez is fighting back tears.
I didn't want to get involved, but with my daughter, my oldest, says, Mom, come.
Worried about her nephew, Rudy Farias, after activist Quanell X held a press conference this afternoon saying Rudy hasn't really been missing for 8 years.
He kept saying, I don't want her to go to prison. I don't want her to go to prison.
Quanell says it was Rudy's mother, Janie Santana, that called him for help this morning. He says Santana asked him to come to this hotel where she and Rudy were planning to meet with Houston police. But when Quanell arrived, what he says Rudy told detectives was heartbreaking.
She would ask him to play daddy. She told him that he had to be the husband. She would force him to sleep in the bed with her.
According to Quanell, Rudy told detectives his mother hid him in her house, gave him drugs, and physically and sexually abused him. All while Quanell says she was profiting off his disappearance by raising money for the search.
I've never seen Rudy since the day he went missing.
Sylvia Lopez is another aunt who says over the years she even traveled out of state with Santana to look for her son.
She had me out there in California thinking that they had found somebody that looked like Rudy in California, and I went all the way with her.
At this time, none of the allegations made by Quanell X have been confirmed by investigators. Now, he says he was invited, as you heard there, by Rudy's mom, Janie Santana, to the hotel in Humble where investigators were talking to Rudy. I've got a live look at two locations on your screen right now. On the left is the HPD press briefing. Again, that should get underway any moment. And on the right is the home where Janie Santana was living and where, according to Quanell X and his conversation he says he had with Rudy, Rudy has lived for the past 8 years undetected after being reported missing when friends and family and community members searched for him. As those of you are joining, waiting to hear from HPD about Rudy's case, just another reminder that this press conference is going to be twofold. The first part is going to be about cameras, dash cam videos, dash cam cameras set up in patrol cars. After that is complete, HPD will move on to the Rudy Farias investigation. I know I've stressed over and over again that we don't have a lot of answers, but if you have some questions, I can try to answer what we can, or I can just clarify that we don't know yet. I'm watching our Facebook comments now to see if we get any questions. Again, initially, this appeared to be a miracle. A man found alive 8 years after his disappearance in his own city, in the city where he went missing. Beyond that, we have different versions of events. Neighbors who have conflicting reports about seeing Rudy in the neighborhood or not. Scott asked if they've located Janie. She was at the hotel in Humble where the investigators were talking to Rudy yesterday. In fact, Quanell X says she is the one who called him and invited him to be there. Leanne asks if charges are being filed against the mother. We don't know if any of the allegations made by Quanell X, based on the conversation he has with Rudy, are valid at this point. Houston Police, almost immediately after that press conference with Quanell X, released a statement saying that they were going to wait until today, until this press conference. I see Chief Troy Finner making his way to the stadium, or podium, so we're gonna go ahead and take this live.
Everybody up? Okay. Good. All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're here to discuss the missing person investigation of Rudy Farias. But before I do that, I want to address our dash cam news that's been in the news starting 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to do that really, really quickly, and then I'm going to bring up Lieutenant Zamora from the Missing Persons Unit. He'll provide some detail on the investigation, and also Commander Garcia will come in and translate for us. So a few weeks ago, there were a report that we only had only 15% of our vehicles were equipped with body-worn cameras, with dash cams, I meant to say. That didn't take into account that we don't equip cameras, dash cams, on investigative vehicles. So let me give you just a quick breakdown on the actual numbers. We have about 3,200 vehicles on our fleet used for various duties. 1,400 of those vehicles are equipped with lights and sirens, our traditional patrol cars. 1,800 of those are investigative vehicles and undercover vehicles. Of that number, of the 1,400, not every marked vehicle is used to conduct traffic stops, investigations, calls for service. Examples: if you have a vehicle that's assigned to public affairs, community affairs, it's a show vehicle. I'm not putting a dash cam on it. If we have vehicles assigned to our training division and we're just training officers how to drive, I'm not putting dash cams on that. So the actual numbers, we have 579 vehicles out of the 1,400 vehicles are equipped with dash cams. The mayor has agreed to devote additional $2 million, and that will outfit an additional 143 vehicles. So we're not at 100%, like I said when I did that interview, but we're definitely moving in that right direction. So I want to thank the mayor again for stepping in with that funding. Last thing I want to say about that, and we'll bring up the lieutenant. During my administration, which has been a little bit over 2 years, we've equipped 355 vehicles. That's probably 60% or so of our fleet right now. So we do believe in transparency, and definitely as the chief of police, I believe in transparency. So anything that we can do to move that in that direction. But I'm going to bring the investigator up, and we'll hold up, Mario. I'm going to bring the investigator up, and we're going to entertain all questions at the end about the dash cams and also this investigation. So we'll entertain everything at the end. Come on.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning. I'm Lieutenant Zamora with the Homicide Division Missing Persons Unit. To my left, I have Detective Sergeant Jimenez, Detective Brian Ford, and Detective Atlanta Claiborne. Today we're discussing facts related to 25-year-old Rudy Farias, who was reported missing on March 7, 2015. He was 17 years old when his mother reported him missing. During the 8-year time frame where he was missing, investigators followed up on many tips, leads, collected evidence proving that Rudy was not missing during the 8-year period. Many of these facts included contacts and statements with relatives, friends, neighbors, and medical professionals. Rudy was recently identified as having previous HPD interactions, meaning that he made contact with patrol officers out on the street. However, during these contacts, fictitious names and date of births were given, misleading the officers, and Rudy would remain missing. In fact, both Janie, Rudy's mother, and Rudy himself gave fictitious names while interacting with various patrol officers. After investigators talked with him yesterday, it was discovered that Rudy returned home the following day on March 8th, 2015. The mother, Janie, continued to deceive police by remaining adamant that Rudy was still missing. She alleged her nephew was the person friends and family were seen coming and going. However, we disputed that. Currently, the DA has declined any charges at this time for making fictitious reports and failure to ID. Investigators have reached out to Adult Protective Services. HPD Victim Services has reached out. We've also connected Rudy with Victim Services to ensure that he has a method to recover. Now, based on Rudy's interview, there were no reports of sexual abuse reported. If there is a disclosure made, we will continue to investigate. Currently, the investigation is active, and there are new leads coming in. We'll continue to follow those leads. We do take all allegations seriously, and any new information or facts that we receive will be investigated.
Thank you, Lieutenant. One question at a time, please.
Oh,
Do
no.
not yell them out.
I'm going to let him translate, then we're going to do it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Chief.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Chief. Thank you, Lieutenant. Buenos días y gracias a todos por estar aquí. Antes de hablar sobre el caso involucrando a la persona desaparecida Rudy Farias, vamos a hablar un poquito sobre un asunto que ha aparecido en las noticias, que es referente a las cámaras montadas en el tablero de los vehículos policíacos. Queremos avisarles que de todos los vehículos que tenemos en nuestra flota, no todos necesitan una cámara montada. Muchos vehículos son usados en investigaciones, no hacen paros de detención de tráfico y esos no necesitan cámaras montadas. También si son vehículos que van a ir a asuntos comunitarios, esos vehículos no necesitan cámaras montadas. Lo que sí podemos decirles es que de los que sí necesitan cámaras montadas, el 50% de nuestros vehículos tienen esas cámaras y estamos trabajando con el alcalde que nos ha dado $2 millones para ponerle las cámaras al resto de nuestros vehículos. Aproximadamente 143 vehículos van a ser, se les va a agregar esa cámara montada y esperamos acabar con el resto de la flota cuando haya fondos necesarios. Ahora, referente al caso de Rudy Farias, voy a hablar un poco sobre lo que dijo el teniente de esta investigación. En el 2015 se reportó a este individuo como una persona desaparecida. En ese momento tenía 17 años de edad. La investigación que han conducido los detectives nos indica de que esta persona en realidad no estaba desaparecida, que hubo contactos con la policía durante estos 8 años. Desafortunadamente, cuando hubo contacto con la policía, este individuo dio otro nombre, un nombre ficticio, y por eso nunca se pudo indicar en nuestros récords, en nuestros archivos, de que esta persona que había sido reportada desaparecida había tenido contacto con la policía. Entonces, van a contestar sus preguntas. En este momento nada más quiero decirles de que cualquier necesidad que tenga Rudy se le va a dar. Si necesita ayuda de nuestras divisiones de asistencia a víctimas, se les va a proporcionar. ¿Okay? No se les ha dado ninguna, el procurador, la oficina del procurador no ha aceptado ningún cargo en este momento. Gracias.
Go ahead. Right.
Yesterday we heard from activist Cornell X, and he made some shocking allegations that he was in the room with a detective, and he heard from Rudy firsthand. He said that there were sexual abuse allegations and that he was drugged by his mother. From what you just said today, are you saying that the activist was lying?
Basically, what we're saying is our investigation is our investigation, and we treat it the same. We're going to, our investigators were in the room, and basically, you know, what they heard and what they interviewed, that's what we attest to in our offense reports and our investigations. And I'm not here, neither are they here, to question anybody's integrity. But our integrity with the Houston Police Department stands, and we're going to report and put in offense reports what a victim or a potential victim tells us, okay?
But just to be clear, in that room, the detective did not hear anything about sexual abuse allegations.
Go ahead.
Can you just clear that up?
Yeah, Sergeant Stefan Jimenez. Yes, I interviewed him, and no, there was no, you know, I'm trained to listen for probable cause. I'm trained to listen for statements that can help me get charges or move forward with a case. And no, there was no statements made during this investigation so far, no.
Thank you. Next question. Go ahead, Mario.
Can that be answering?
Wait a minute. Go ahead. We get it. Yeah. Go ahead.
There was no reports of sexual abuse. Is that correct, sir? What you said?
That is correct, coming from Rudy Farias.
Was there any conversations about a sexual relationship between the mother and the son?
So we don't release any type of information related to sexual assaults. That's just state law. I
Okay.
can't comment on that.
Go ahead.
Is Rudy a victim then in all of this, or did he and his mother work together? I mean, he wasn't missing now.
The investigation is still going on, Courtney, and I'm not going to say if he's a victim or not. I'm thinking, you know, and saying we're going to treat this just as we do with any potential victim or victim, and we're going to give respect to everybody that's involved. We're going to conduct our investigation, and we're kind of right at the beginning of it. This investigation is going to go on after this press conference.
What's next? Could we see any
Sorry.
charges?
If charges are you know, appropriate, they'll see, but let us conduct the investigation. And what's next, Courtney, just as any other investigation, we're going to follow our evidence. We're going to do more interviews, and we're going to follow the evidence, and I think that's important. Go ahead.
Chief, can you say, were there any signs of mental illness, that he might be mentally ill, that his mother might be mentally ill?
We're not going to say that right now. Anyway, we're going to conduct investigation. It's really too early to determine that. There are going to be some more parts to the investigations, and you know, some of that may come into play. But right now, you know.
So just because there were some other allegations that he had been held prisoner, that he had been taken to Mexico, is there any indication that that was true, or was that like a delusion?
Lieutenant. Yeah.
Because that would have been kidnapping, right, or holding somebody against their will?
We don't have any information to say there was any kind of kidnapping or anything like that right now.
Okay.
Have any search warrants been served at the house where he used to be?
I think it's no search warrants. Right?
No, at the time he was reported missing 8 years ago, being missing is not a crime. So the detectives had no lawful means or probable cause to issue a search warrant for the residence, which was searched several times.
We're going to work our way down, and we'll get back to you. Go ahead. Yes.
On the dash cams, what is the timeline for installation for the new ones?
There's no permanent timeline. As you can imagine, there's a cost to it, and there are some complications. And give you one just quick thing, the challenge. 200 of our vehicles are modeled 2014 are older. That's a challenge. I'm not, you know, when we're up against a financial budget like we are, you know, you got to pick and choose, and you got to prioritize some things. So, but as quickly as funding comes in, we're going to work to get in all of our patrol vehicles and those vehicles that come into contact with the public with dash cams. But I want people to realize one thing: 100% of our officers that's out there on the streets have body-worn cameras on, 100%. And we know for a fact that if you would choose dash cams, I'd love to have both systems, okay, 100%. But once you get out that car where most things happen in interaction, hand-to-hand, I want that body-worn camera. But as we get funding in, and as I said, the mayor is stepping up, like he always does, but he can only do so much. This funding issue didn't start, and I'm going to say this, I stay away from politics, okay? But the citizens in Houston, at some point in time, we're going to have to really face how we're going to properly fund public safety and public servants, okay? Because you need better fire trucks, you need better equipment. We can't keep kicking that can down the street. We're going to have to talk about things of a revenue cap, but we'll leave it to the politicians. Next question. Go ahead.
So I heard you mention that there was no need for a search warrant when he was reported missing years ago, but in between yesterday and the day that he was discovered, was anything searched? Was anybody questioned? Anybody go by the house?
Rudy and his mother were interviewed yesterday. As far as anyone going to the house, it's still active investigation. We can't release details pertaining to that.
Also, quick clarity, was he 17 at the time that he was missing?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So he's 25.
He's
25 now. Yeah. Go ahead, Mario. I'll get to y'all. Hold up. Go ahead.
Was there a missing persons report filed by his mother at the very beginning?
That was in March 7th of 2015.
So there was a missing persons report that was filed,
Correct.
and so this is what I'm asking on this end. Could the mother be detained for filing a missing persons report and never once informing HPD that he came home?
Yes, she could be reported or detained. That offense is a Class C misdemeanor, which is similar to a traffic citation.
Right.
You're not going to jail.
Rudy
Go ahead.
Farias was found on Thursday. Your investigator spoke to him nearly a week later. Do you think it was a mistake not to speak to him sooner? You said yourself the DA has not accepted charges. That's a week where evidence could be destroyed. What's your response to that?
So it's procedure for the investigation to go through a channel, and when it reaches us, we review it. There was no urgency to investigate a recovered or found person. And I say that because patrol officers made contact with him. They ensured that he was safe. They contacted HFD to make sure that he didn't need medical treatment. and he was cleared on scene by HFD. He refused transportation to the hospital. His mother took him to the hospital later on that evening.
What the lieutenant said, I think, is important. You can't force a potential victim of a missing person, okay, with nothing else to come in and give a statement. So it takes time to try to work with people to get that statement.
And I know you believe in transparency, and for the public, we're going to put this on the news, and it's going to cause more questions, because yesterday we hear from the activist who makes these shocking allegations, and as a reporter who was there, I did see him myself go in and out of the room, so it was clear that he had some sort of communication.
Transparency doesn't come in front and maintaining the integrity of the investigation, and that's where my transparency stops. But and this is the last question I'm gonna ask about the activists or anybody else. You know, we're gonna follow our investigation, and we treat it the same. Everybody has a role in society, and we respect everybody, including our activists. But the integrity of the investigation is number one, and we're gonna maintain that. Okay. I don't think so. Go ahead. Anybody?
Do you know where's Rudy at this moment and his mom?
Yes, we do. Rudy is safe. He is with his mother by choice.
And he's an adult.
Yeah.
He's a 25-year-old man.
Right. Hey, we're going to get a few more. Mario right here, and then we're going to work our way down. Probably 4 more, and we're going to wrap.
You used the word a minute ago describing Rudy as a victim. We know that
I said potential victim, and I want to be respectful on that. Yep.
he disappeared when he was a young man, a teenager.
17.
17 years old. There's been cases in the past where people have been brainwashed, where people have been told you cannot, and they're being held against their will. For everyone that's going to be watching this worldwide, because this is a worldwide story, how do you not separate him until you guys are able to get everything together, considering that he disappeared as a child?
Mario, you've been in the business for a long time, and I'm gonna let you answer that. Okay, we've explained everything, some of the challenges or whatnot. Here's a fact: he's a grown man. 20. Listen to what I'm saying. If you want me to answer you. No, he was an adult, 17. Hold up, okay. Not confrontational. You know, I respect what everybody does. Okay, but 17 years old. That's an adult in the state of Texas. Okay. A lot of things that we shared up here. So we're going to work our way through it. It takes a little while. There's a lot of development still, even last night, okay? We know that. Everything's coming up. We're going to investigate it. The integrity is going to stay in place. We're going to treat him the same as any other person that comes through that we're conducting an investigation on. I'm done with that part. Go ahead, Courtney.
Detective, this might be a better question for the
Go ahead.
detective. I don't know.
Okay, anybody?
What's the reason then, what can you tell us about why Rudy and his mother then allegedly lied for 8 years and said he was missing when he clearly wasn't?
I can answer that, though. I mean, to protect, we can't predict motivation or whatnot. We could just try to, yeah, right, yeah. But you know, during the interview and the particulars of it, it's active investigation. We respect that, but can't, yeah. Next question, yeah. We wasn't just doing 8 years total investigation, okay? So it went dormant for a little bit, but the case was still open, okay? And I want to say this: until we find people, until we clear it, that's when it should be cleared. But if your question is, we expended some resources, absolutely, yes. No, you're prioritizing, okay? We're in a budget that there are challenges, okay? And what I presented, and we'll side note this, okay, because it takes a little while to explain it. When you have challenges, people look at a $1 billion budget, okay? And everybody just, oh my God, HPD has a lot of money. 92% of that goes to salary and benefits, so it's not a whole lot of money. We have to pay our people, and we have to be competitive. The mayor just gave $7.2 million so we can get more cadets in. So there are a lot of challenges. And what I'm saying is this didn't happen just in the mayor's administration. For years, you need so much amount, 14 million, I always talk about that, to properly replace vehicles in our fleet. But some years when things are just, you got a lot of stuff going on, okay? When you don't get that, it kicks it back and it makes it worse. We have an aging fleet. 50% of our vehicles, or a little bit more, are beyond the replacement life. And that's patrol vehicles, 100,000 miles, 5 years. Unmarked vehicles, 120,000 miles, 7 years, okay? So we have a very aging fleet and a lot of other problems. So we prioritize, and we're going to get there where we need to. But I'll side state. Go ahead. Yes.
Because I know you said it's an ongoing investigation, but can you say whether that they did give some sort of explanation as to why they did this? Or
No.
You can't say it all?
No, we're not going to say anything. Let me get you, and then I'm going to get you. You're going to be the last one. Go ahead.
So, I know that, why were HPD officers at the home this morning? And also, I know family members are concerned for Rudy's safety. Is there no concerns as far as the investigation?
Do you guys want to talk about that call for service?
We can. It's a call for service.
Yeah.
There was a burglary report last night at the house. Patrol responded, and we were alerted because it was a house of note, and it's been part of the investigation, and that is also now part of our investigation, what happened last night, and it's still
You
going.
said in the beginning of
Thank
this
you.
press conference that Rudy has made contact with patrol units at some point. Can you explain what that was, and does he face
Lieutenant.
any charges for saying that he had false names?
So it is a criminal offense to give false names when you're detained under arrest or you're making a valid police report. There was an instance where he did that, him and his mother. At this time, though, the district attorney has declined to accept charges on that until our entire investigation has been
So you
complete.
tried to charge him as well?
The facts were presented to the district
Good.
attorney.
Mario, we're going to end it, okay? Go
Can
ahead.
you say what that contact was quickly, though, with him? You said patrol units. Was it like he was stopped in his car? Can you just?
I was gonna ask specifically, did HPD ever go to his home and with his mother, and were any fictitious names given at all?
Investigators did go out to the home multiple times. They talked to various family members, relatives, friends, neighbors, and yes, they were given a fictitious name.
So was there contact made with Rudy at his home?
Let me close with this one thing, okay? Let me close with this, Mario. Look, we've been open as we can. It's not our first investigation, and everybody here understands what I'm saying about the integrity investigation. This is where we're going to end. We wanted to get up before a lot because this has come as not only a local, but a national, in some cases international, okay, because of everything that's going on. But it ends today, not our investigation, but as we get more information and when it's appropriate, we'll send out information, okay? So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank you for your patience, and thank y'all for what you do every day. Yeah, yeah. That's it. All right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Can we just get the names of the officers?
Yeah. We'll get y'all, give y'all names. Just the names. Yes, I want her to.
Stefan Jimenez. STEPHEN-JIMENEZ, Sergeant.
Detective Brian Fort, BRIANFORT.
ELENA.
You just heard
Claiborne,
from
CLA,
Houston Police about the
BURN.
investigation into the 8-year disappearance of Rudy
Lieutenant Christopher
Farias.
Zamora,
There was a little bit in there
CHRISTOPHER,
about dash cams for patrol cars, but the bulk of the questions, the bulk of that press conference addressed what investigators have known for the past 8 years and what they've learned just in the past couple of days. We are standing by waiting to possibly hear from members of Rudy Farias' family. If we can get a hold of that, I will bring it to you immediately. What did we learn in this press conference? We learned that the day after Rudy went missing in March 2015, he returned home. His mother had already filed a missing persons report, according to investigators, and she never corrected that. She never followed up with HPD to let them know that Rudy returned home. For the past 8 years, they said they have had some evidence that Rudy was not missing. He and his mother have both had interactions with HPD. Officers didn't explain what those interactions were, but that there had been interactions in which both Rudy and his mom, Janie Santana, used false names, used fraudulent identities in those interactions with HPD. HPD pushed for charges to be filed against Rudy and Janie for using false names. We're told the DA's office has declined to move forward with charges until this investigation is complete. According to investigators, Rudy did not reveal any information about sexual abuse related to his mother in the conversations they had with him yesterday. Now, you'll remember, Quanell X came out yesterday in a press conference and said he was in those conversations with investigators, with Rudy, with Janie Santana, the mother, and that in a private moment where there was another investigator in the room, Quanell X said Rudy confided to him that his mother had drugged him and sexually assaulted him. Now, Houston police are saying there is no evidence of that. Their investigators did not hear any allegations of sexual abuse from Rudy. Looks like we just lost our signal there, and it looks like the family is speaking right now. Let's go ahead and hear from
One
them.
of Janie's friends,
Second word from what we know of.
she took Rudy yesterday from the hotel. So like the chief of police said that Rudy is with his mother. He needs to get the facts straight. Rudy is not with his mother. He is with this other friend who has known and had Rudy in her possession.
¿Dónde está Rudy en estos momentos? ¿Qué saben de él?
Rudy ahorita está con una amiga de Janie, la mamá, y estamos esperando que él viene con la familia.
You know, one of the things the chief just said in that press conference was that if you're watching yesterday, you know, Quanell X talked about that there were sexual assault allegations, that his mother had sexually assaulted him, had drugged him, and the chief said there is no indication that that happened.
Let me interrupt on that. I'm going, hold on.
One at a time, sorry, I just want to make sure we hear you.
The chief is not going to know if those allegations are true or not unless Rudy had been taken to go get medically evaluated. It doesn't take, it doesn't take someone to have a degree to know that you are not going to know anything if you are not checked.
But of course, Rudy was in the hospital.
Rudy was not in the hospital. The pictures that Janie had been posting and giving to the media and everybody, are pictures from 2012 when Rudy was hospitalized. They are not from this past week. They are not recent pictures. So if higher authority would get their story straight and do the investigation like they're supposed to, they would know these things.
Are you saying that he was sexually assaulted by
I
his
do
mother?
believe
You
it. Rudy
so?
would not come out and say something like that. Rudy was a very shy, timid little boy.
But are you saying it's possible that that happened? You
Yes.
believe his mother was
Yes.
capable of that?
Yes.
¿Ustedes sí creen que pudo haber abusado sexualmente de él?
Yes. Yes. La mamá sí le hizo algo y nosotros no vamos a saber nada si no lo llevan con un doctor para que lo pueden chequear. El chief of police y todos que están diciendo que no saben o no pueden aclarar eso, no van a poder aclarar nada si no lo llevan con un médico.
Okay, let me
¿Qué
speak.
piensan de hoy de la conferencia?
Let me speak. I'm going to say this in English. Chief of Police could have brought out Quanell X's statement because my nephew Rudy Farias, who so-called, quote unquote, was missing since 8 years ago, 2015, and those fake hospital pictures were fake from 2012. Quanell's statement should have been brought up because Quanell is here to help. It's very rare that he would come out and speak up on behalf, and my nephew Rudy would have never talked if Janie was around, okay? Janie is a hypothetical liar, manipulative. She knows a lot of people in the HPD, so I'm gonna have to say I'm not quite sure, but I'm gonna have to say she knows a lot of people in HPD, and that's why her freaking ass has been covered up.
How are you feeling about no one being charged?
No hay
Chief of
cargos.
Police dijo que no hay cargos ahorita.
And that's the first thing. How is a mom going to do something to her child knowing that that is very wrong and that's crucial, okay? It runs in the family, in her family. And I'm very pissed off, and I don't want to bring my past up because of Santana's stepfather, and I'm sorry to say that, I grew a hard life, but because of her father that sexually abused me. So it runs in her freaking family.
Are you saying that someone should be charged in this case?
Yes, there should be charges.
Es lo que dijo ahorita hoy en el press conference que no hay charges. Que van a hacer una investigación. Estamos bien enojados. ¿Cómo no van a hacer nada? Y ellos están diciendo que no van a hacer nada porque no hay pruebas. ¿Cómo chingas no van a ver si hay pruebas o no? Si no llevan a Rudy para que lo chequean.
Yesterday, when we were at the hotel, they had her, from what I believe, I didn't get there on time because I was doing other stuff. They had her in handcuffs. Why in the freaking world did they let her go while she was in handcuffs? Because they made one phone call to a district attorney, whoever he was, and said, what, let her go. There's nothing to follow any evidence.
Do you believe
Bullshit.
that she should be charged with
Yes, yes.
Not only with what she's done to Rudy, but falsifying that he had been kidnapped, taken to Mexico, that he had been spotted in other states. She had people all over the United States looking for him because of her
doing
false
this
claims.
damn GoFunding me account, fraudulently taking money when the son was there. And I don't mean to bring this up, God rest our mom in peace, but when my mom was under our home health where I work at, I would go visit her because she would never answer her freaking phone. I would go knock at her door. It would take Janie 20 minutes exactly, because I would time it, to answer the freaking door. During the time, and my heart tells me something is going on, I would finally see my mom all dirty, malnourished, really filthy, and going in her bedroom so filthy that it was a shame.
Pauline, can I just ask you, investigators said over and over again that they had made contact with both Rudy and his mother over the past 8 years. They gave fake names on multiple occasions, both of them. Your reaction to hearing that?
If that was fake names giving because Rudy was coerced by his mom to lie, and she manipulated Rudy to say what it was. Once again, I'll bring the subject up. Had Quanell X not been there yesterday at the hotel and took Rudy aside to talk to him, Rudy then felt the comfortness to talk to Quanell X and bring every freaking thing that she did to our nephew. How in the hell is a mom gonna do that to her own kids? Even my own mom, when she was alive, God rest her in peace, that we had to marry her because she couldn't take this shit anymore from Janie. You know, it's horrible. My mom would tell me in person, Rudy is here, Rudy is here. I would go and try to open the doors, and she would say, what are you doing there? I said, I'm just seeing if I left something behind or whatever. My mom never lied. She always said my mom had dementia. Yes, my mom finally got her Alzheimer's at 80-something years old when my sister Sylvia finally took controlship of her. You know, this is hard, but we promised her mom we would make justice, that this would come to light.
Pauline, you believe that Rudy was a victim, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Totally victimized.
Can I say something in regards to the chief of police saying that numerous occasions Rudy and his mom were stopped by the police and they gave fake names? Aren't the police asking for ID, driver's license, something when a person gets pulled over? Aren't they supposed to have something, show something, proof of your name? So were they not asking this to know that these people are giving fake names, or were fake IDs or driver license presented?
So why do you think that they were so reluctant to talk about what was discussed, what Quanell told?
I think the police are hiding something. They know that
Janie
They
comes
know
from a
there is
background of
proof.
HPD.
They know there is proof, and yes, Janie has a lot of contacts with the HPD department, and people up there, higher level people, are hiding the fact that Janie has done things. Her ex-husband, Rudy's father, who also committed suicide because of his things that he was doing within the police department. So I know there are lots of officers, lots of DAs, judges that do their job. They do what they promise and swear to do, and there are the corrupt ones. And these people are hiding and lying for her, and right now she's getting away.
I asked the chief upstairs if if HPD ever went to the house, specifically to his house in the last 8 years, and they cut it off. The gentleman for
Because they didn't go. They've been there one time when she used to live on Lee Road in Humboldt. They went one time when we reported that Rudy was at that location.
So the HPD did make contact.
Just one time.
At the home.
At the home.
On Lee Road, not on the Valley Lake.
And then one time
Rudy was there.
HPD's, I can't remember his name, but he called me at my office on my cell phone to tell me if I took a picture of Rudy in that house. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't seen Rudy since he has been missing. And as of to this day today, I have not seen my nephew.
Do you guys have a
He
message?
sent me a picture. He says, well, can I send you a picture? I said, send me the picture. I want to see the picture. So he sent me the picture, and I have that picture here.
Can we see it?
Absolutely.
Do you guys have a message for Rudy if he's watching this
Can we
right
see his
now?
picture,
Yes,
please?
Rudy, if you're watching this,
Rudy,
let us help you.
if you're watching this, Mito, we love you. Your aunts, your cousins, we stand behind you, and we are right here with you. We love you.
Who do you hold at fault for this? Because obviously you guys have anger and frustration. Do you view it as HPD not doing it, or do you view it also the DAs?
HPD failed us.
I'm sorry, what?
HPD failed us.
The DA
That's what
failed
they did.
us yesterday. They had her. She was in handcuffs, and she was released because they said they had no proven evidence, no factual evidence.
And I called
You cannot
HPD.
have
Here's the
factual
picture.
evidence if you do not take
And
him
that-
to get
And
checked.
that picture's what?
This is the picture that some HPD officer sent me because I requested the picture.
What is this picture? What is this? what's this-
Rudy
that's-
in the kitchen of his mother's house in 2018.
I'm sorry, what?
Rudy, that's a picture of Rudy in his mother's house in 2018. That's when Janie was married to Robert
Ortega.
Ortega.
Robert Ortega.
Yes.
Tell us your relation to Rudy and just make sure and give us your name.
My next question is, Rudy, I do want to say Rudy because I'm hoping that he's not getting manipulated and keeping away from watching TV. That so-called friend of Janie Santana, where he's at, Nikki Garza. Remember, you will be an accomplice. I've got pictures of cars. I got license plates. I will turn those in, which I've already posted them on Facebook. And I really hope that I do. What I would like for HPD to see is make a report, be on the lookout for those cars, and just run a report.
You know,
But
we
she's
know that-
always changing cars. I physically went after the airport, what was that hotel?
Yes.
Holiday Inn. I physically went to her house yesterday to snoop around. There were reporters there. I didn't do nothing illegal. She has been living there. I did find, and Rudy, this is what I want you to find out because I know that you've always carried it very dearly with you. And I did find it because I know you've had it for many, many, many years. That more than likely Grandma gave it to you. If you can get away, if they're not forcing you to stay where you're at, and if you can get away, you know where to find us. You can call your Aunt Sylvia, which is your godmother. You can call Abel, my son, which is your cousin. And this is what I found because I did go snooping around and I knew that you were there. You see this here?
Are those his rosary beads?
This is his rosary that he would always carry around his neck. Always.
And where did you find that?
I found it right in the front as probably his mom was rushing him to hurry up and get away from the neighborhood. So right now, Janie Santana has gone back. I have people within the areas on the lookout. They did call me at 12:30, 4:36 in the morning that she was in the neighborhood.
She wasn't in the neighborhood. She went home to load her car up with clothes and stuff to take. And we're also told that whatever the vehicle that she's driving right now, she's loaded. She's got 2 guns with her. She's got a car full, and she's gone and tried to convince or bribe Rudy into changing his story. She offered him thousands of dollars. She's offering the neighbors money to keep their mouths quiet and say that they're all lying about
Neighbors
what they've
did
seen.
come to me yesterday telling me that she did offer each neighbor 150, 250 per day or for whatever, so that they won't say nothing. Okay, they were very honest, and one lady, I won't say her name, but she was on the news. She did come up to me when I was there in front of Janie Santana's house, acknowledging everything that I knew deep in my heart, that he has always been there all this time. But people thought, and I'm gonna find out who the first investigator was when I heard about the disappearance, and I knew it wasn't right, okay? This investigator, I don't know who it was, but private investigator, she got on the phone with me and called me every name in the book that I didn't want to see Janie finding her son, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, you know what? That day's going to come that everything's going to come out to light.
You know your
HPD
sister
said
probably.
that he was okay, that he's an adult, that, you know, he made his choice to stay with her. How do you guys feel about that?
Very upset. He wouldn't have said those things if he knew that Janie wasn't holding on him. And prior to them leaving the hotel yesterday, Janie had threatened him that had he not left with her, she was going to hurt herself and he was going to be without a mother. If he didn't change his story, that both he and she would end up in jail or prison because of what he told Cornell X. With my understanding, there was law enforcement in that same room hearing that conversation. So for the chief of police to say that they didn't hear anything and that it's just Cornell X, no, sir. Get it straight. Tell your people to tell the truth, speak the truth. I don't care what position you're in, how high you are up there, speak the truth. This kid is not a kid anymore. He's 25 years old, but he needs help.
HPD said that
He's
at the
been
time,
in there.
HPD's position is that at the time he was 17 years old, which in the state of Texas
A
makes you an adult.
male is considered an adult at the age of 17.
Let
It
me-
doesn't matter. He was forced and he was drugged. He was forced to do what his mother told him to do.
Let me clarify
How
this.
is that not a crime? His mother has held him there under false pretense that if he reached out or looked for help, he was going to go to jail and something bad was going to happen to him. What is someone of his state of mind at that time? He may have been 17, but he still had the mind of a 10-year-old. Rudy was not a grown adult at that time, and his mind wasn't. He was not anywhere near where he could be on his own.
Being
He did
coerced,
what his
being
mother told him.
manipulated, taking advantage of your own child that you raised. And Janie, I know you're listening to me, and you can come back and say that you're going to have me locked up or get me in trouble or whatever. Stick that up to where the sunshine don't shine. I'm going to say it in a nice way, because your day is coming. We're almost there to get you. There's nowhere that you can run, because I'm going to make sure that your posters go all over. Don't even attempt to get into an airport and go anywhere, because that's not going to happen.
What do you think motivated your sister? What do you think motivated your sister?
To do this? She's always been manipulative. She's had different husbands, different names. She even tried to use my name, that I did whatever to her, which is falsifying.
She's a greedy person.
She's a very
always
greedy
been
person.
Greedy, self-centered, selfish.
It's
she
all
wanted-
about money.
She's always been after money. Any way she can get money, anything she has to do, she doesn't care who it hurts or what the outcome is, as long as she has the money for that time, and then she moves on to another way. My grandma, may God rest her peace.
Mental delay or mental, like you said, he was sort of
Who wouldn't have a mental delay when
No,
you're
they're
on?
asking if
Ye-
when he
no,
was a child.
when he was growing up, he was fun to be with. He grew up with his cousins, my children, my sister's children. They all got along. And then all of a sudden, she just took controlship when my nephew had that motorcycle accident, and that's where some of his, his mind just went off.
So you had a motorcycle accident?
My oldest nephew, yes, her firstborn. And then the dad killed himself, HPD, for whatever reasons, I don't know, some traffic citations or whatever.
And what are your names, ladies?
My name is Pauline Sanchez Rodriguez. I'm the oldest of the aunt here.
Michelle Rodriguez, I'm his cousin, first cousin.
Michelle, ¿podríamos hablar contigo unos minutos?
I have nothing to hide. I'm a and I know that this is all coming about greediness, about money. She's bought another life insurance policy. I've got pictures on my phone. I did take pictures. I didn't take her mail because I know that's a federal offense, but it's not bad just to take pictures.
And you know, they say that the DA has not pressed charges yet, that they need to wait to complete their investigation before they proceed with this. Right now, Janie has a chance to get further away.
They're giving her the opportunity.
They're helping her. They're giving her a head start when all they had to do was bring her in and question her, bring Rudy in, take him to get evaluated, have medical records, because he has not been in a hospital. He has not been checked since they got him from the church over there in Second Ward, in Magnolia. So, Chief of Police and whoever else is saying that y'all have to wait, thank you. You're giving Janie a head start.
Are you guys going to try to get Rudy from the family if he can go with you guys?
We would like for Rudy to come home with my aunt and for him to if we have to do the law's job for them, we would do what we need to do to get him the help he needs so we can take care of him.
Of course, we're not going to do nothing illegal, but as I said yesterday, I called HPD to send a unit out there to have the license plates run 2 different places. They never showed up. When I called back, dispatch or somebody from that HPD unit told me, we don't have any units. We don't have any units. So what? We don't have any units. But as soon as we get a unit, how long would that be? 2 or more hours? We waited there, nobody ever showed up. I finally called back. I said, you know what, I'm tired of waiting. I'm going back to the other destination. I'll go do things on my own.
Saber lo que sucedió hoy, cómo reaccionó la familia. Estamos enojados. Ya me moví.
What happened in the bathroom?
No, it's no one. It's only us 3 of us. Now one in Houston, me in San Antonio, and then one in the valley.
Oh, who's the battle?
It's gonna be Gilbert and some girl. I don't know. She starts next week.
Some girl.
No, it's because I
You don't know her?
She starts next week. Yeah.
Investigate.
No.
How are you? ¿Lidia está de vacaciones?
No, la mamá del pastor. Con lo de la sentencia.
Okay, it looks like those statements from Janie Santana's sisters, the aunts of Rudy Farias, just wrapped up their statements. There is a lot to unpack here. They heard everything that was said in the press conference with the Houston Police Missing Persons Unit, and they refuted a lot of it. They made allegations that Janie Santana has connections within HPD related to Rudy's father, who was an HPD officer until his suicide in 2014. They alleged that officers are helping her skirt charges, hide. They said officers are giving her a head start to get away when they could have just brought her in on charges. I do want to mention that HPD says it was trying to get charges filed against both Rudy and Janie Santana because they were using fake names in interactions with HPD, but the DA declined to move forward with those charges until the investigation is complete. So there's a couple different facets there. This case, since Rudy reappeared in the public on June 29th has gone every which way. Initially, there was the miracle, right? A man found 8 years after his disappearance, when he was just a teenager, in the town where he disappeared. Then we started to hear from neighbors. Then yesterday, Quanell X came out with his allegations, deeply disturbing, after the conversation he says he has with Rudy. Now, Houston police in their press conference said that there's no evidence that Rudy was sexually abused, no allegations that he'd been drugged, and that's why no charges were being filed against Janie Santana. However, immediately after that press conference wrapped up, we heard from Janie's sisters. Janie's sisters who say Janie was taking care of their mother, and their mother would tell them, Rudy is here. Rudy is here. They talked about how when they would knock on the door, it would take up to 20 minutes for Janie to come and answer it. They believe that their nephew suffered a lot after his brother's death and then his father's suicide, and might not be thinking clearly. If you want to go back and rewatch all of this, we will include it on KHU.com as well as our YouTube channel. We are also about to start KHU 11 News at noon. We will have live reports. Agochioloka is live outside the home where Rudy was allegedly living with his mother. We will also have continuing coverage on social media, on KHU.com. This is very much a developing story. You heard from Chief Finner, this investigation is not over yet. And we'll keep you updated as best we can.